Dodoco Tales is the most recent free-to-play weapon to come to Genshin Impact, and in this video we're going to take a look at the background behind the weapon and a bit of a comparison against some other popular catalysts. So we'll be comparing it up against a level 90 refinement rank 4 Widsith, a level 90 Solar Pearl that's refinement rank 5, and a Lost Prayer to the Sacred Winds, which is also level 90 and refinement rank 1. First, let's start off with some background, but if you just want to get to the comparison, you can click on the timestamp down below. So as far as getting the Dodoco Tales, it was available for a limited time, and you could purchase it with the event currency outright, and you could also buy its refinement materials. And you could actually refine this weapon to rank 5 in less than half an hour, so the grinding for it was almost non-existent. It was a very quick weapon to pick up. All you had to do was go to these pre-marked locations on your minimap and take out the little groups of monsters there. Dodoco Tales is actually the third free-to-play weapon that Genshin Impact has introduced, so if you've been around since Dragon Spawn, you'll probably have heard about the Festering Desire Sword, or maybe you came in for the Windbloom Ode. But anyways, these weapons are a really nice addition to the game as they give free-to-play players or somebody that doesn't want to spend too much cash on the game a really decent option. And I'll be testing the Dodoco Tales on Klee because the book is practically made for her. If you take a look at the info inside it, it's actually a gift from Klee's mother to her, and the color scheme also goes perfectly with Klee as well, so I think it's kind of a natural choice to test it out on her, but we'll talk more about some of the other characters it's good on as well. So let's take a look at some of the pros and cons of this weapon. Dodoco Tales suffers from a lower base attack and the attack percent substat, both of which aren't that great, but it can make up for it with that passive down there, as that's pretty good because Klee is always using normals and charges. The Solar Pearl has the benefit of offering that crit rate substat, which is very useful and gives you a bit more leeway with your artifacts, and the Widsith follows suit with that crit damage substat and a pretty decent attack as well. So we're going to see how it stacks up against those weapons, but going into this, also know that this is a great choice for Ningguang if you've got her, and it can also be a decent choice for Mona, or if you've got a Yanfei, it's also great on her. But we're going to be testing it out on Klee as I feel it was kind of intended for her, and I've got a bunch of other options that work great on Klee as well. So if we take a look at the setup before we actually get into the testing, I try to do the ratio of crit rate to crit damage with a 1:2 there, and I'm actually going to build out the loadout for this test with that in mind. So I'm going to take out the crit damage hat here because if we switch over to Dodoco Tales, we see that it doesn't offer that crit rate or crit damage substat like any of the other three weapons we're going to be testing. I usually go for crit damage on my other weapon choices because most usually I'm using the Lost Prayer, which already has that crit rate, but I just thought it wouldn't quite be that fair if we ran the test without having it be a bit more down the middle for all of these weapons. So we'll switch over to a crit rate artifact and we'll kick the test off here. So I ran this test twice to account for some of the RNG and my weapon attack variability, but we'll take a look here. It's not the most accurate, and I did go in favor of letting the Widsith pop its buff right before I started the timer here. So I actually had Xinqiu off of frame, and then I switched to Klee right before attacking. So we actually procced the Widsith's buff right before starting the battle. And the Lost Prayer to the Sacred Winds, I waited for that to have its full stacks before I did this because I wanted to see if we would consistently have something on top just to make sure we had kind of a control to see that the test wasn't crazy skewed. So we'll take a look at this as we finish up here, and I'll put the times over on the right hand side as each of these weapons finishes. And as you can see, the Lost Prayer did stay constant and finish first, which is to be expected because we kind of gave it that extra boost of waiting for full stacks, and also it is a 5-star weapon, so pretty hard to beat. But what's pretty interesting is the Dodoco actually came in second on that first run as well. Now, as we're in this second one, you can see that I try to follow the same format, like we start off with Jump D, then we go to a charge, and then a combination of normals and charges, but it's not going to be crazy accurate, so we just really want to see if the Dodoco is able to keep up with the competition, and as we've seen so far, it is actually doing that very well. So now that we've got all the times, let's take a look at those averages, and as you can see, it actually did really well stacked up against the competition. And remember, I gave these other books some of the benefit of the doubt by letting them proc their secondaries fully before starting the test. And that's going to do it for this video, but if you're interested in seeing more informational Genshin Impact content, check out my video on the Festering Desire or maybe the Lost Prayer, the Sacred Winds, and check out my Genshin Impact playlist for more Genshin. Thanks again for watching and have yourself a great day.